Thing that caught your eye out there?
Jordan Genmark Keith playing some linebacker for you. What's going on with that?
Well, we think that his size and his instincts, his physicality, merited an opportunity to take a look at the will. As you know, we were cross-training Asmar both inside and outside. We feel good about what he can do as a cross-trainer in both positions. So now it's really about this late in the spring, giving us a sense of what he can do close to the ball. We like his contact skills. We like his just instincts for the football. So we thought it would be a good chance for us to utilize some reps at the will for him.
And do you know whether that would be permanent, or do you need
some more? We need some more. You know, we're not, and you know me, I'm not a guy that likes to just move guys to move them. We have a plan. And the plan would be if he can take that position over and let Asmar stay out at the rover and focus on that, that would be the ideal situation for us.
Brandon Wimbush seemed to be pretty accurate today. Have you seen that throughout the first 12 practices?
No, he's building his consistency though. His footwork has now put him in a position where he can accurately put the ball where it needs to be, and be so much more consistent with his progression reads. Throwing a seam ball. I don't know that we threw a seam last year, an inside seam, other than a bender with the tight end. His ability to do that is a product of he's really been much more consistent with his footwork, and his delivery and throwing motion has allowed him to throw a lot more on the black and throw strikes.
Your offensive line alignment with Liam on the left, and Chip Long talked to us a little bit about it. We got to see it today. What do you like about that alignment? Do you feel like that's the one that you're going to stick with?
Yeah, I mean, again, we're in the spring and we're trying to see what the parts look like together. So we moved Bars over there to left guard to give a veteran presence with Liam. What we really like about Liam is his strength, his size, his physicality. He's learning, so why not move a veteran next to him where he can communicate with him, help him to pass off twists, give him some cues prior to the snap, and settle him into a confident and really consistent basis. I just like his size, his reach. He can stand up to the different pass rushes that we're going to get out there, the bull rush, and he's long enough, you know, to help off the edge. So I think all in all, I think, you know, we've liked him at the left tackle. I think that nothing is really going to change our mind in terms of moving him to right tackle. We like Hainsey at the right tackle position. He's just a good backside setter. He can do the job that we're looking for at the right tackle. I think the real question, Eric, was who do you put next to Liam, right? So we moved Alex over there because he doesn't care if he's in a right-handed stance or a left-handed stance.
Last year Eichenberg had a chance to win a starting spot. What's he doing now that he was unable to do last fall?
It's been more mental, Tim, more than anything else. His ability to settle down. He was a little bit too, I wouldn't say not confident, but you know, you could see he didn't play with the kind of confidence that he needed to. Emotionally, he's in his comfort level, in his zone now. He would jump off sides easily, you know, miss an assignment easily. So I think that's maturity. I think it's my time now, and I'm ready for it. So I think a lot of it's mental than physical.
Is that kind of the typical process that most offensive linemen go through? I mean, you're somewhat describing McGlinchey a little bit before he really totally locked in.
I think that's accurate. I think that there's a lot of, you know, if we can get to a finished product like Mike McGlinchey, we'll be pretty good. But your point is well taken. I think I think, and that's not just at the left tackle position. That's a lot of the positions. It's Brandon Wimbush, right? I mean, he's a classic case of he is in such a better place mentally, confident, knows his technique, can trust it, and I think that's what we're getting to with Liam.
Brian, what with Kirk Heinisch, like, what do you think is enabled him to contribute right away and keep progressing it as if not a guy who's 6'4" and 320 pounds and all that?
So the position in which he plays, which is a shade position, and leverage. His ability to play with great pad leverage. He plays low, gets underneath linemen, can physically handle himself when he has to extend and use his hands. But I think it starts with he's very smart. He knows the defense extremely well. He knows his responsibility, and he just plays with great leverage. Strong enough and leverage is going to allow you to play the shade in most defenses.
When you were recruiting him, I'm sure you could pick up on the leverage and the stature. It's obvious, but just in terms of like the football IQ, when did you sort of notice that was a part
In the
of it?
summer, yeah, and not until the summer. And then in camp, he just leapfrogged. Him and Myron were able to make a quick jump over the incumbent players that were there because they played with great leverage. They played with their hands. And I have never met a defensive lineman that can get off blocks strictly on strength and technique. They just have to have that ability to shed and get off blocks. He does, and that's just something that he had when he got here.
The new kickoff rules.
Yeah.
Your general thoughts on that?
Well, I think, first of all, it's one less thing we have to work on with our kickers in terms of, pooch kicks and things of that nature. When you think about it being applied practically, it's not going to be as big of a deal as many people have alerted that it might be. Because certainly the kickers today, if they can't do that, they're going to kick it back into the end zone. And with the strength of kickers today, you're making a decision whether you're fielding that or not. Once you take away the pooch kick, with the fair catch being, the 25-yard line, I don't know that we're going to see it actually quite a bit. We'll have to work on guys in terms of making decisions from probably the goal line plus to the 5-10-yard line. We'll have to settle on what that sweet spot is for us, in terms of tactically. But I really, as they went over it, I don't know that you'll see that much fair catching left and right because guys are just going to bang that ball back into the end zone.
Coach, how was Brock Wright kind of caught up since off-season surgery, and you had him in a niche role that got him in games last year? How is he kind of catching up as a complete tight end?
I thought he's done a really good job of coming back in after a shoulder injury and not physically feeling like I can't get right in there. And like he got banged pretty good today on a little boot, and he bounces right back up. I think what he's done is he put himself back in the position to be a solid player for us after shoulder surgery. And I say that because that doesn't happen easily. Guys come back, they're hesitant, they're not fully engaged in it. He's picked up and I think put himself back in a position where we didn't even know he had surgery.
Long way to go, obviously, till then, but similar role that you see for him, or can he kind of, I guess, graduate as a sophomore into part of that?
No, we want him to be, his standard of play, the bar moves from one year to the next. Is he going to be Alizé Mack in terms of physical? Probably not, or even a Cole Kmet, but he doesn't need to be. We didn't recruit him for that. We wanted a great point of attack blocker, a guy that could catch the ball off of, our boot game, play action game, and a guy that we could use with his size in the red zone. And I think he's going to be that and more.
You mentioned that Justin Yu was at a kicking camp, I think it was last weekend. Has he made any changes or adjustments that?
No, this was just more about getting that individual, he went to his swing coach, right? If you're a golfer, he just went to kind of refine the things that he's doing. I was hoping he came back and kicked one from 65 today, but that magic dust didn't get sprinkled on him. He's going to be consistent. I think he was more interested in just making sure that he got on film and he got evaluated, that all the things that he's been doing has been, right on. And he felt good about it coming back.
I'm going to back you up a little bit to the beginning of spring when you named your captains. Pretty rare, obviously, in any program to have a punter as one of the captains. Could you kind of revisit what made Tyler Newsom stand out?
Off season, he's a guy that holds all players to the level, the standard of excellence that we have here at Notre Dame, and when you're not meeting that standard, he's going to take the load from you to make sure that it gets done. He's a remarkable teammate, and from that perspective, I'll give you an example to just kind of tie it up. Is that when our losing SWAT team weekly, they have to come in to run. He didn't lose once, his team, but he came in every Wednesday to be there for that losing team, to support them. Just that kind of wanting to hold everybody to the same standards, and he was there to help them. He wasn't there to yell at them. He was there to encourage them, and that was recognized by his teammates.
It's interesting because you think a lot of times the punters out here, the rest of the guys are over here, but that doesn't seem to be the case necessarily.
Well, I had recognized that it was more than that relative to how he impacted the team because of that care factor that he has. So I made him a SWAT team leader. So I put him in a leadership position, and then once he was in a leadership position, he felt like he could take hold of that and run with it, and he did, and made a great influence on his teammates.
We're going to get a chance to talk to Jerry Tillery today. Did you, when you look at Jerry, I guess both from his evolution as a player, but I'm more curious about what kind of young man is he? What are your impressions of him? He's a pretty unique guy.
It's growing up. I think he would tell you that his time here at Notre Dame has been extremely formative for him. He's learned a lot. He's made some mistakes. He's helped our football team. He's handled himself in the classroom in a positive way. He's going to have his degree, obviously, here at Notre Dame. But I would say that it's been a journey for him. And, this year I think he's been forced to be a leader much more than he's ever been at any time. And I think we've put him in a great position from a football standpoint. He's virtually unblockable at the 3 technique for us. He's a very difficult player to play. So I think it's been a journey, an evolution, a maturity, but that's what happens here. And that's what we hope that happens. And I think he's a great example of that.
Brian, when you watch Houston Griffith from a distance, it's kind of fun to watch the way he tackles and everything. In terms of him being assignment correct, are you seeing that from him as well?
Yep. Yeah, he knows what he's doing. Yeah. He's, you never know, right, until they get here, and then you put the pads on him, and receiver blocks down. That's your receiver. You got a man-to-man. No, it's a run play. I'm going to fill that. It's a push crack. You can't teach it. Just instinctually does it. He's got great instincts, knows the game. He's going to be a real good player here.
And I know it's still early and so forth, but I mean, could you envision him having?
He's going to play for us in the fall.
Okay.
How that ends up, whether he's a starter or backup, or he will play football for Notre Dame this fall, no doubt.
Brian, we asked you about Troy Pride a couple of weeks ago.
Yes.
Where is he now in his evolution?
He has taken the next step. I think we're in a great position with our cornerback. I think we all know about Julian in terms of what he's capable of doing. Troy Pride has probably, of all the corners, has been as consistent as anybody out there. Really pleased with his physicality, his strength, his knowledge. The big curve for him was the learning curve. I'm in the red zone, I'm trying to play the 6 route. You can't give up the post, right? Things like that, where he is so much further along on those areas. So I'm as pleased as anybody, but I know he is too. He knows he's playing really well.
With just 1 week of practice left, where's your focus going to be when you're out there? What are you looking for just across the board?
Well, I don't think it changes going into the last week as much as after you've installed, which only takes about 5 days, 6 days, because you're not installing everything. consistency in performance from all of our players, and then who are going to be those guys that make plays for us when the big plays are needed. So creating those situations in practice that are 4th and goal or last play of the game or, you know, a 2-minute drill, game on the line, creating those situations and find out who are those guys that are going to step up and play their best when their best is needed. Continue to create that situation, as well as the performance, play in and play out, practice in and practice out, consistency of performance. We're going to need that with the schedule we play. We can't play up and down. So that's been really the theme relative to my talk with our team, is consistency and performance.
Has anyone surprised you in those situations as you've gone through spring?
In terms of consistency or being that guy in the big moment?
The guy in the big moment.
No, I think they've been the guys. I think it's more about making sure that we get everybody, you know, to rise up to that occasion when their best is needed. And you've got to communicate. And I'll give you a little example. You know, Brandon, you know, is as he plays, you know, he likes to kind of take a deep breath and calm down. And what I want him to do is amp it up a little bit. Because when he's amped up and he's talking and he's communicating, that comforts the other 10 players. Because they know if Brandon Wimbush is out there barking and telling guys what to do, they know we're going to score. So it's kind of like flipping that role a little bit and putting that on Brandon to be, hey, I want you to be vocal. I want you to say, I want the ball. Because if the other guys hear that you have that kind of demeanor and mindset, the other 10 guys, they're going to be cool customers. So kind of working on those things.
Randy, run game, last year you had a great season running the football. You know, you have to replace 2 outstanding guys. How's it look so far for you this spring?
We have focused, you know, on getting the right players in the right positions. We have focused on, primary focus has been on consistency at the in our throwing game, and then as a group without our defense, we've focused on the run game. So to answer that question as it relates to our offense against our defense, we've thrown the ball much more than we've run it because of those things that we wanted to grow in. I think the spring game will get a better sense because we'll run the ball a whole lot more and we'll be who we have been. But it's hard for me to say, hey, we're so much better, you know, running the football without, you know, Nelson and McGlinchey. We've been focusing on other things, quite frankly. But we'll get a better picture of that in the spring game.
Ryan, the chaos period that you throw out there.
Yeah.
I'm curious, like, how you thought about how to create that.
The Miami game.
Oh, that's all that.
Yeah, the Miami game. And how we didn't handle, and I didn't prepare our guys for handling. You know, Thursday it was 4th and goal, and they were ready to go, and I took the football away, and I gave the offense a soccer ball, which I know you like. We gave them a soccer ball, and said, you got to score now, or you got to run. They didn't score, so they ran. Today we played with 10 players on defense. You know, find a way to win. You know, overcome those obstacles and get back to doing what you do every day. So just creating that based upon preparing our team to go to Blacksburg, you know, Virginia, going to hostile environments, and that's really the crux of it.
Have you gotten feedback about that sound? I'm sure they're just so loud and just crazy.
So it's so distinctive because we play so much of that loud music during practice that our other, you know, tapes, it would all look the same and they wouldn't know. So we needed to get something that was really distinctive and really different. And so, you know, that was really the reason, because I wanted that to cue in that meant it's time to lock in, and I had to find something like that.
Thank you, guys.
Good, thanks.